What is psychology? How do you use it in day-to-day life? Well, psychology is the study of the mind and behavior. How you use it in your daily life, I don't know. I don't know you. But I do know me. And I can tell you how I use it in my everyday life, and hopefully you can relate and see comparisons to your own life too. Let's start by looking into something simple, such as when I wake up in the morning, more specifically, what time. I am an early riser, not by choice, just by nature. And even this in some ways has psychological underpinnings. What time I wake up in the morning are affected by psychological factors in some ways, such as my internal motivation, discipline, and the way in which my neurotransmitters interact in my brain. They all affect how my sleep-wake cycle ends up looking. I am a pretty calm person, who fortunately don't have high stress levels, and don't have to deal with depression or anxiety, which means that my sleep-wake cycle will be consistent as long as I go to bed during normal hours. If I had to deal with any of the mentioned problems, it's most likely that I would be unable to sleep during the nights and be tired during the days instead. Of course, there are other external factors for how my sleep-wake cycle ends up looking, but the psychological factors weigh in heavily on this. I also happen to be a college student, which means I got tests I need to pass in order not to flunk my classes. To do that, I need to study, and even this process is affected by psychology. Because I will have uses for the information I'm studying later, I want to store them in a long-term memory. To do this, I need to encode the information in my brain by paying attention to what I'm learning, so it doesn't get lost in my short-term memory. I also try to recite the information I just received from memory, since consistently retrieving that information from your brain makes the neural paths to the memory stronger, making it easier to remember. It's also important for me to reinforce the habit of studying by positive reinforcement. I do this by treating myself to a honey bun afterwards, to motivate me to keep the good behavior going. Even when I go outside to spend time with my friends or to attend class, psychology still plays a big role in my interactions. From the simple act of how I greet people to the complex dynamics of how I work together with others. All of this is affected by psychological factors, such as my empathy, emotional intelligence, personality, and cognitive abilities. In understanding these psychological nuances, I am able to build meaningful connections and nurture positive relationships in my life. Psychology is used by me even for the choices I make on a day-to-day basis. What I decide to wear for the day, what I decide to eat, and how I prioritize my daily tasks, none of these decisions are arbitrary. They're all influenced by factors of my cognitive psychology, such as my cognitive process, societal norms, and my personal values. The impact of psychology becomes even more apparent in moments I feel stressed or conflicted. How I cope with challenges, express my emotions, and navigate difficult situations is deeply rooted in my psychological makeup. Concepts such as resilience, coping mechanisms, and stress management are all integral parts of my psychological toolkit, helping me face life's many inevitable ups and downs. When the evening comes, and it's time for me to lay to rest for the day, psychology still gets used in my sleep when my brain enters the REM stage, and I start to dream. There are a couple of psychological theories of what dreams are and what they mean. Sigmund Freud's psychoanalytic theory believes that dreams are windows into our unconscious minds, meant to express repressed desires and unresolved conflicts. The cognitive theory suggests that dreams are a way to process emotions and meant to simulate real-life situations and aid in emotional regulation, memories, and solve problems. N.T. Revonsu's evolutionary theory states that dreaming has evolved as an adaptive function to simulate threatening situations, meant to be a mechanism for survival and problem-solving in ancestral environments. The bottom line is that even unconsciously, psychology is still very much used by me. In conclusion, The usage of psychology in both my personal and professional life is plenty. It influences and shapes the way I think, interact, and make my choices. Hopefully, by knowing how psychology has been used in my life, you were able to see some parallels to your own lives and get a deeper understanding of how much psychology is used in almost everything we do. Thank you for listening to my presentation on how I use psychology in my everyday lives. Until next time, stay safe.